This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 18th day of October in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The government of Guyana has informed its international partners about the mobilization of Venezuelan military troops near the border locations with Guyana. In a statement this afternoon, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs indicated that an explanation on the military mobilization near the border locations was sought from the Venezuelan ambassador to Guyana. The ambassador informed the Foreign Affairs Minister Hugh Todd that the mobilization is part of a Venezuelan military exercise to tackle illegal mining in that country. Despite that explanation, the Guyana government made a decision to inform CARICOM and its international partners on the issue. In its statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the government of Guyana remains on guard. According to the Foreign Affairs Ministry, the government of Guyana has taken careful note of the various social media posts which have reported the mobilization of increased personnel and the execution of military exercises by Venezuelan troops in close vicinity to the Guyana borders. The government said every piece of information is taken seriously and is being examined in detail, and the Guyana Defense Force has also been reviewing the reports. A number of videos and photographs of Venezuelan troops being mobilized have been appearing on the social media pages of some Venezuelan activists and social media commentators. News source understands that the Guyana Defense Force, as well as National Intelligence, have been paying close attention to the social media posts and have also been monitoring the reports of increased activities near the bordering regions. President Irfan Ali, who is attending the Canada CARICOM Summit in Ottawa, Canada, is being briefed regularly on the reports, news source understands. And he has also been informing his fellow CARICOM heads of government of the latest developments. Guyana currently has Venezuela before the International Court of Justice as the country seeks a final juridical settlement of the border controversy. More news coming up in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Andrea King, Miss World Guyana and your Pinktober Ambassador 2023. Come take a run with me. Now that we've got the route down, I look forward to seeing you on October 29 at 6 a.m. right here at Everest Ground as we walk and run for a cause. Remember, we are many hands with caring hearts.
Oh my lord! I just love to shop in this store. My customers, them gonna love all these things. So many different things in one place. Household items, electronics, toys, stationery, confectionery, exercise equipment, shoes and clothes for men, women and children, school things, costume, jewelry, perfume, makeup. Oh, look the makeup!
Giftland Office Max, Guyana's favorite department store.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that my crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
The Guyana Revenue Authority is not budging from its decision to flag $214.4 million in the cost submitted by the Exxon company in the cost oil audit. Controversy erupted recently when it was made public that the disputed figure had been reduced to $3 million by the Ministry of Natural Resources. The government said it launched an investigation into that reduction and ultimately laid blame at the feet of the head of the petroleum unit, Bobby Gasai. On Tuesday, the ExxonMobil Guyana president, Alastair Rutledge, told reporters that the audit was still ongoing and that ExxonMobil had submitted additional documentation on the request of the government to the international audit company IHS Markit. But this morning, the Guyana Revenue Authority fired back. In a statement from Commissioner General Godfrey Stacia, the GRA said it has noted the earlier statement from the ExxonMobil president, and it wants to make it clear that the GRA's correspondence to the audit firm seeking clarity on the audit should in no way or form be construed as a change in the authority's position that a cost bank adjustment of $214.4 million be adjusted or to reopen the process. The GRA said it stands by its advice that a $214.4 million, as reported in the audit report, is the accepted final figure. The audit covered the years 1999 to 2017. ExxonMobil has already complained that a long period made it difficult for all relevant information and documentation to be supplied. The ExxonMobil Guyana president has also disputed reports that any agreement on the adjustment was reached between the company and the government. Still, the GRA said it's not budging from its figure. Well, the government has announced the reopening of the tender process for the construction of a $700 million Amilo Falls hydropower station. The revised request for proposals said that the project must be built under a Build, Own, Operate, Transfer model known as BOOT. China Railway Group Limited was initially selected for the project, but the company was having difficulties honoring the commitment of the Build, Own, Operate, Transfer contract. In a published notice, the government is now saying that the generation for the Guyana Power and Light Company will largely be derived from the Amilo Falls project and the Gas to Energy project. At minimum, the government believes that the Amilo Falls project will have a generation capacity of 165 megawatts, and the Gas to Energy project is expected to deliver a generation capacity of 300 megawatts of gas power generation by 2025, and a pipeline full capacity that will increase about 700 megawatts of gas power generation. The statement said the Amilo Falls Hydro project will integrate and expand the national grid. The government has also made it clear that interested parties must note that the Amilo Hydro and Transmission Substations network will operate under the BOOT model, with an option for the Guyana government to acquire the project after construction and commercial operation. The government said the transmission network for the project will be integrated into the national transmission system, and once commissioned will fall under the control and operation of the National Grid Center Control. The Amilo Falls project was expected to commence construction last year and be completed by 2025. However, with the delays to get the project underway, the Vice President last month assured that the government will still be moving ahead with the project, but with a revised timeline. Returning now to the oil and gas sector, amid the increasing local and international pressure for Guyana to implement ring fencing provisions in the development of its offshore oil blocks, the president of ExxonMobil Guyana, Alastair Rutledge, has defended the absence of such provisions in the Stabroek Block production sharing agreement, on the grounds that the company would be able to maximize the resources there, much to the benefit of Guyanese.
Typically, from my experience in most countries, what matters to the government and the people are really maximizing the development of the resource and maximizing the revenue ultimately into the Natural Resource Fund. And operating without the ring fencing is what will help do that. It will help us to deliver the maximum recovery of resource and the maximum revenue generation for the country.
Ring fencing limits the consolidation of projects by a single company, and as such, the costs and revenues associated with each project are accounted for independently. However, according to the ExxonMobil president, the issue is largely misunderstood.
If you just take an idealistic world of two projects side by side, ring fence separately, it's a question of timing of when costs are repaid, and revenues are received by the government. Under the ring fence, it takes longer to recover costs, revenues go to the government a little earlier, but the total is the same.
Mr. Rutledge said based on his more than 30 years of experience in the oil and gas sector, ring fencing prevents companies from being strategic with investments across projects and can also hamper their ability to maximize on their resources.
The potential downsides and what we've seen from our experience is that in doing that, what you can sometimes end up with is you strand resources because you've tied a project and you say, well, there are some resources outside of that ring fence, but on a standalone basis, they're no longer economic or they struggle to compete for investment. Or indeed, because you've made these standalone definitions of projects, you lack the ability to go in and really look across projects and be more strategic in investments, particularly in things like supporting infrastructure, which we've been able to do here.
The Institute for Energy, Economics and Financial Analysis has, however, argued that the lack of a ring fencing provision in the Stabroek Block PSA allows the operator to charge Guyana for the cost of new wells ahead of the production of oil. Noting that the contract is front-loaded, the institution is of the opinion that the operators are receiving more than Guyana, particularly in the early years of the contract. But Rutledge maintains that the absence of ring fencing does not put the country at a disadvantage. He said while it affects the timings of the cash flow, it helps to better develop the resources of the country.
Audits are a routine practice for any business, more so in the international petroleum industry. These audits ensure that the expenses incurred by ExxonMobil are aligned with cost to recoverable expenditures. Guyana has been working to ensure that audits are done in a transparent manner, utilizing international and local expertise.
Are you looking for men's suits for that wedding, prom, or special party? Or maybe you need to update your wardrobe with a modern fit or a new color for work. Search no more, because John Lewis Styles is the perfect men's suit store. Come see us on Waterloo Street, and our friendly staff will help you choose the perfect size, color, and fit. Complement that suit with a stunning shirt and tie, matching bow tie and suspenders, cufflinks, or even a pair of shiny dress shoes. You will love the way you look. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Police investigators in Berbice have arrested a suspect in connection with the early morning robbery and murder of 59-year-old businessman Akbar Sain of Williamsburg Quarantine, Berbice. In a statement, the Guyana Police Force said the robbery and murder of the Berbice businessman occurred at his Williamsburg home, where he operates a supermarket on the lower flat. The police said investigators responded to reports of a break-and-enter and larceny at the supermarket at Williamsburg at around 2:30 this morning. On arrival, police ranks observed that a grill to the southern side of the home was prized open, and the businessman who lived alone was seen lying motionless on the floor of the supermarket with blood on his face. The cashier area of the supermarket was also ransacked. The police said the businessman's licensed firearm was seen close to his body. During a later visit to the crime scene this morning, the police arrested a suspect whose name was given as Satish Ramnaresh. He was found hiding out in the businessman's house, located just above the supermarket. A search was conducted on the suspect, and a quantity of local currency was found stashed in his crotch. The police said the man confessed to breaking into the businessman's property, where a scuffle ensued. He admitted that the businessman was hit several times. The businessman, according to the police, was beaten to death. The suspect remains in custody pending murder charges. Let's tell you now that the Judicial Service Commission is seeking to fill key vacancies in the local judiciary in an effort to reduce thousands of cases pending before the courts. The recently constituted JSC has set aside its tradition of inviting persons it believes are qualified for judicial posts and is instead advertising for the positions of magistrates and judges. In a number of notices appearing in local newspapers, the Judicial Service Commission announced that it is seeking magistrates for all administrative regions, as well as judges for the Supreme Court. The JSC is also looking to fill several administrative positions in the courts across the country. The move by the Judicial Service Commission to fill the vacancies in the judiciary is a welcomed one. In a statement today, Attorney General Anil Nandlal said the initiative by the Judicial Service Commission is in keeping with the canons of transparency. He said it is hoped that the advertisements are also published extraterritorially so that they attract suitably qualified persons locally and from the Caribbean region as well as the wider Commonwealth in order to facilitate the recruitment of persons of the highest possible caliber. The Attorney General said it has also observed that vacancies for appointments to the Court of Appeal are not the subject of the advertisements. He said in light of the amendments recently made to the Court of Appeal Act, increasing the complement of judges in that court from 5 to 9, there are vacancies in the court as well. He said it is expected that those vacancies will be advertised shortly as well by the Judicial Service Commission. Earlier this year, Acting Chancellor of the local judiciary, Justice Janet Cummings, bemoaned the non-appointment of the Judicial Service Commission at the time. The Attorney General Anil Nandlal had also raised the issue. In July, President Taylor Finale reconstituted the Judicial Service Commission with the swearing in of its members after it was non-functional for 6 years. The Acting Chancellor and the Acting Chief Justice are among the members of the Judicial Service Commission. The Commission's tasks include the appointment of judicial officers and staff, the disciplinary removal of judicial officers and other senior staff members in the local judiciary. The Judicial Service Commission also advises the President on the appointment of judges, with the exception of the Chancellor and the Chief Justice. Opposition Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal today called out the Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa over his decision to terminate the contract for the construction of a pump station at Blackbush Polder. Mr. Mahipal said the premature decision could now result in millions of taxpayers' dollars being wasted. The $978 million contract was terminated in September for a number of reasons, including poor work. The contract had been awarded to the Una Civil and Building Construction Company. Though flagging the project, MP Mahipal in a statement said he opposed the premature termination of the contract.
In a brazen display of fiscal irresponsibility, Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has, in a short-sighted move, inflicted grave financial harm upon the hard-working taxpayers of our nation. His termination of the contract for the construction of the pump station at Blackbush Polder, designed to irrigate the Blackbush frontlands, will unquestionably result in a hemorrhage of millions of precious taxpayers' dollars.
Mahipal reasoned that the termination clause of the contract would necessitate that the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority not only pays for the measured work, but also for the materials already present on the construction site at the time of the decision. According to the MP, he conducted an on-site inspection of the project and found that many of the installed steel rods have started to corrode.
There unmistakably lay a cage-like formation of steel rods consisting of both 1-inch and 3/4-inch corrugated steel rods spanning the entire base of the project atop what appeared to be a concrete foundation. Moreover, a disheartening quality of steel rods lie in the state of advanced rust, slowly decaying. With this project slated for retendering, these valuable materials will continue to deteriorate, translating into an exorbitant financial loss for the taxpayers.
Mr. Mahipal said instead of terminating the contract, the Agriculture Ministry should have implored and pressed the contractor to advance the project.
Zulfikar Mustafa chose to act hastily without regards for the financial interests of the taxpayers or the integrity of the project itself. In my view, the wisest decision would have been to protect taxpayers' investments by ensuring the concrete was applied to these steel rods before any termination took place.
In response to Mahipol this afternoon, the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, said it may be recalled that back in September, the Ministry of Agriculture's National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, acting on the advice and recommendation of its experienced consultants, took a decision to terminate the contract for the Blackbush Polar Pump Station, since there were several technical breaches by the contractor. The minister said the consultant's recommendation was based on the failure by the contractor to address breaches of the contract continually, combined with the failure of the contractor to execute works in accordance with the contract and the continued failure over the duration of the project to achieve the scheduled progress of works in accordance with approved work program. The Ministry of Agriculture said all of those amounted to a fundamental breach of the contract, and such triggered the decision by the ministry to bring the contract to an end. The Ministry of Agriculture said the opposition member of parliament is attempting to sensationalize the facts.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
Sorry.
Jack?
Hey.
Boys, where you going with all that speed?
Yeah, today's the 15th. My NIS contributions are due, and I ain't even get the forms as yet.
Hold on. You mean to tell me that you're not aware that all self-employed persons can now make their NIS contributions using the MMG app from the comforts of their homes and offices?
Really? And I just pay my bills using MMG,
Yes, Jack. And the thing's simple. All you have to do is open the app, select Pay Bills, Government Services, NIS, and Pay. They will prompt you to enter your NIS number, the month you're paying for, and the amount.
So I don't need to submit any form?
The only time you submit in a form is when you're making a claim.
Wait, I could make a claim too?
Oh no, man, you didn't know that? Yes, all self-employed persons are entitled to all benefits from NIS. Well, except for the industrial benefits. And here's the good part. All of their forms, you can download them from the NIS website.
Well, girl, I'm really glad I bumped into you.
Anyhow, make sure you pay your bills later.
Later? I gotta sit down right here and pay my contributions first.
Take care.
For further information, please visit the website at www.nis.org.gy, the National Insurance Scheme Facebook page, or your nearest NIS office.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor of the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall. In the region, the government of Belize says it rejects as false the designation of Belize by the EU as a non-cooperative jurisdiction for tax purposes. On Tuesday, the European Union issued an updated list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes, adopted by the European Union's Council. The EU's reason for this decision is that Belize was assigned a partially compliant PC rating in the peer review of Belize's compliance with the International Standard on Exchange of Information on Request, EOIR, published by the Global Forum on Tax Transparency and Exchange of Information, GF, on July 19, 2023. The criteria for establishing the EU list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes requires a positive rating by the GF on EOIR of largely compliant or compliant. Dominica's Ministry of Health has informed the public of a recently reported increase in cases of hand, foot and mouth disease, HFMD, within the country. In the first week of October, the ministry identified one suspected case. This resulted in the release of a circular by the Environmental Health Department on October 11. Since then, there have been suspected cases in 5 out of 7 health districts among children below 6 years old. HFMD is a common childhood illness caused by various strains of the enteroviruses. It usually affects children under the age of 5, but can also occur in older children and adults. The disease presents a mild to moderate illness, but can cause discomfort and concern. Symptoms of HFMD usually appear within 3 to 7 days after exposure to the virus and may include fever, sore throat, a rash on the hands and feet, and small painful blisters in the mouth. In some cases, individuals may also experience a loss of appetite and may generally feel unwell. And finally tonight, international news. U.S. President Joe Biden has said a deadly blast at Gaza hospital appears to have been caused by Palestinian militants, backing Israel's account of the incident as he visits the country. According to the BBC, Mr. Biden, who landed in Tel Aviv on Wednesday, said he was deeply saddened and outraged by the explosion. Israel's military said it was caused by a failed Palestinian rocket launch, but Palestinian officials said an Israel airstrike hit the hospital. During his visit, Mr. Biden also announced that Israel has agreed to let humanitarian aid from Egypt into Gaza. Access to food, water, fuel, and power has been blocked by Israel since the conflict began, sparking deep humanitarian concerns. Israel, the president said, agreed to let the aid in based on the understanding it would go to civilians and not Hamas. Mr. Biden also said $100 million U.S. funding would be allocated to support Palestinian civilians. Shortly afterwards, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed Israel would not prevent food, water and medicine going from Egypt to the civilian population in southern Gaza. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.